Hello and welcome to another broadcast in the eHockey World Cup of 2026. My name is Brandon Bigsby, aka bMaJuH, and with me today, the dynamic duo. You know them, you love them, Lehmannens, Johan Lehmann and Hampus Duvefelt, Lehmannens. Furian, first time we've all been on the broadcast together. How are you guys doing? So glad to have you joining me here on cast today.
Yeah, super exciting to be here to be doing this stream with you for such a big event, such a big game. It's still a bit unusual to be on this side of things, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to be here as well. I mean, as a Swede, these are the games you're looking forward to the most. So special to play against the Finns.
Absolutely. A pair of broadcasts today. Our first one, we got a pair of derbies, but like you guys mentioned, this one a big one in the countries of Finland and Sweden. The classic matchup between two of the best countries in all of Europe on this stage. I mean, you both mentioned it, you've experienced before. This is one that both the Finns and the Swedes have circled on their calendar whenever there is an international tournament. And though today's is just Group A play, not necessarily a playoff atmosphere, still means a lot in terms of bragging rights and pride for both of these two sides.
Yeah, to be sure. As a Swedish player, there's always a playoff feel when you play against Finland. No matter the stakes, it's always a playoff game. These are the most important ones.
For sure, for sure. Big points at stake, of course, but I think that maybe the bragging rights are just as important for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Is if for anything like the last few years, these two could end up facing off against each other in the playoffs. As you get a quick look at where each of our groups stand as of now. Group A, the only group to yet to finish their group play, their quote unquote regular season games, as you would like to call it. But through the rest of them, our playoff teams are confirmed. You see Slovakia, Czechia have gotten through in Group B. Norway and Germany have found their way in through Group C. And we also have gotten our promotion playoff underway. As you see Estonia, Italy, Great Britain, and Australia were able to find their way into that relegation playoff promotion. But as we mentioned, I'll kind of ask you guys, what are some of the things that do stand out to you specifically within our promotion playoffs? As we mentioned, we got those four teams that earned their way through. One side of the bracket already done. Switzerland keeping their place in Division A for next season. They knock off Italy 10-5 in a really tightly contested contest between France winning that by just one goal, and Austria earning their way into the final. They will await the winner of the Latvia-Australia series. I'll kind of ask you guys what stands out to you, because each of these teams trying to fight their way into that top division for next season, which obviously means so much to each of these countries to be up in that top flight.
Well, when you're talking about rivalries like Sweden Finland, I'm pretty sure that that matchup between France and Great Britain had some emotions. Those two countries have some history. But what stands out to me most from this particular bracket is one, I'm quite surprised, to be honest, that Estonia didn't manage to get past Austria. They had I think two elite players or ECL elite players, Estonia. And I think the expectation was that they were almost a favorite of these teams to gain promotion. So a bit of a surprise to see them out early. And yeah, it's been fun following Australia. I'm not sure like playing on, what is it, 150 250 ping is I mean, I've done it once in last year's national tournament, not against Australia, but it's something else, I gotta say. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see how Latvia handles that as well. If there's an upset in that game as well, we'll have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And something interesting that you did mention about Estonia, what made that so surprising, I think, for a lot of people, is that Estonia was the only team in the regular season in group play, A or B, to go undefeated and not lose a game. They then followed that up by losing 8-3 in that kind of semifinal in that group. So kind of surprising to see how that all took shape. But again, it just goes to show you in this tournament that you really do have to earn your way into that group A, and it just shows you how difficult it can be.
Absolutely.
As we kind of transition over to what we'll be focusing on primarily here today, Group A, as he mentioned, and this is where things are going to be very interesting. As he mentioned, all four of these teams are locked into the playoffs. However, they will be jockeying for seeding, and a lot of things could change, particularly for Sweden. At the end of the night, they could be as high as number one in this group, or it could be as low as number four, while for Finland, cannot end up being any higher than second. However, they have to at least get 4 points to secure their way outside of that last place spot. So a lot of things that can shift here. And, I know Furion, you kind of mentioned how it always feels like a playoff atmosphere, and it doesn't matter whether it is or isn't a group stage game, that it always means something. These two are fighting for really valuable points, however, especially when it does come to that playoff jockeying and Finland being trapped in the basement if they can't get at least 4 points here out of 6.
Yeah, I think it's been surprising. I'm pretty sure that's not a very unusual opinion to have so far, but it's been surprising to see that Finland is no longer in the running to actually be able to win the group, as they were. They made the finals last year. They were pretty heavily favored going into this tournament. So far, it has to be somewhat of a disappointing tournament from them, which we've seen signs of. We've seen lineup changes. We've seen sort of a general unrest around the team. So things haven't been clicking the way that I'm sure they expected or hoped going into it. But I think they definitely want to save something, get something out of it here in this final group stage matchup, and especially beating Sweden would of course be kind of like because in this virtual scene, the classic big brother little brother rivalry that we have in regular hockey, where Sweden has historically been big brother. In esports, it's been historically Finland has been the big brother, but we'll see. I think. Lehmann, I think Sweden is going to have something to say about this one.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's quite an interesting situation, especially since, as you said, Finland is usually the favorites, usually a little bit above Sweden in the virtual hockey world. But I mean, this matchup for them as well could be the spark, like that turns the tournament. Because at this point, I mean, it's nothing less than a big disappointment. But beating Sweden, like 2 games, that could turn the whole tournament up on its head.
Yeah, that's a great point. And if you kind of take a look at how that could impact things, as we saw in our last kind of slide there, we know the teams that are in the playoffs for each of the other group and where they will be seated. So we could very well have our first matchup confirmed depending on how things go in the series. Again, if Finland does not secure at least 4 points, they will be locked into that number 4 spot, which means they will be facing off against Norway. And Norway 5-0-1 this season so far. They've been one of the hottest teams in the tournament in Group A. I don't think anyone in this group wants to play against that team with how they have looked. Someone that could potentially knock off an upset out of the Big Four, depending on who they face off against.
Yeah, if they can carry that momentum on through into the playoffs here, that would, considering the shape that I guess Finland has been in, I'm not sure that's a matchup they want, or it's exactly the matchup they want to get back on track. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting because obviously with the playoffs, it is a little bit of a different vibe, and some of these teams may be a little bit more familiar with each other since they all kind of are on the European scope if you are a Finland or a Sweden. But again, even then, Slovakia being there at number 3, who has had quite a impressive run as well. So when you do kind of get to this playoff time, not any easy matchups. And again, Finland could end up being as low as 4, as high as 2. Sweden, however, an even bigger swing, could be as high as 1 or as low as 4. So there's equal kind of pull there depending on which way this could go. Lehmann, I'll kind of ask you, you have a lot of the experience, especially in this tournament. Does that add extra pressure, kind of knowing how big of a shift that your playoff run could take depending on how these 2 games today go?
I mean, from my perspective at least, the most important thing for a playoff is to have the momentum with you. I mean, all of the teams waiting for Group A, like the top seeds, are teams they should beat on a good day, but on an off day, they could lose to any of them. So both for Sweden and for Finland, carrying in the positive mindset and a positive momentum from the group stage is probably the most important part. Because on a good day, they will beat all of those teams.
Absolutely. As you get a bit of a look at the matches between these two sides, we've talked about just the history and the long-standing rivalry between these two. And I mean, Hampus, you kind of said a little bit earlier, compared to real life, where Sweden's kind of big bro, Finland's little bro. It's been roles reversed as you get a look at some of the matches between these two last season. Finland has won 3 of the 4, and the one that they didn't win ended in a draw because it was a playoff game and the aggregate score was already decided. So Sweden coming in with a lot of momentum, but still Finland has to feel pretty good considering the history between these two sides coming into the day.
You played in these games, Lehmann, so you can walk us through them.
Yeah, I mean, just as you mentioned, Hampus, this has been a little like a little brother, big brother situation between Finland and Sweden. Like last year, we were so hyped up for these games, like both times, both in the playoffs and the group stage. They were tight games, could have gone either way, but somehow, looking back at the results, they're at one direction, and it's not the Swedish ones. So it was a tough one. I mean, like this is a new tournament. Like last year, it was the first one that we really could face off, like the best players from Sweden and the best players from Finland. It was like our time to show that the tides have turned. But I mean, this year it might be different. Like Sweden has taken that final step to breach the ceiling.
I know that's something that in talking to Captain Antonio Mannen and well, mostly him, as he's the kind of like the figurehead, the leader of that team. That's something that they are very determined to kind of, yeah, as you say, break that glass ceiling, I guess. Because I know even last broadcast there was I think pretty harmless question about like do you draw on something the Finns have done so far in this tournament. And I know that Antonio was just like, we're doing our thing. It's time for the Swedes to do their thing and surpass the big brother. So that's I think the general mindset of the Swedish team right now, that they're going to surpass the Finns.
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of sticking
that's
with. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the interesting part. I mean, the script can be written both ways. Either this is the turning point for Finland's tournament, and like they put themselves up there again, or this is the time that Sweden breaks the ceiling and gets over Finland. So, I mean, I see it can go both ways.
Yeah, as you get a look at the team comparison between these two in the tournament. And as we mentioned, Sweden has looked very good so far this tournament. Finland, not so much. But again, none of that really matters too much. You were facing off against the USA and Canada. Obviously, the server difference, very different style of play. I mean, Lehmannens, I'll kind of ask you because you played in a lot of these games in that last graphic that we saw. What tends to be the difference maker in these games between Finland and Sweden? What is it that separates the winner from the loser more times than not that really both of these sides are going to have to focus in on here today?
Yeah, I mean it's all about the mental game. Like we said, there has been a big brother, little brother mindset going on, and both teams know it. And something in that needs to change for the result to change as well. Like tactically and skill wise, Sweden is there. There's no question about it. So it's just if they're there mentally as well.
And you got anything to add there?
Nothing more than like we should be clear on that. These are really no offense to the other European nations in the tournament. But these are currently and has been for at least some time the big two in European virtual hockey. I did some light reading earlier today, and I looked at the stats for this ECL Elite, the top tier of European virtual hockey. And out of 87 skaters, I think there were 4 that weren't from Finland or Sweden. And out of 22 goaltenders, there were 3 that weren't from Finland or Sweden. So Finland has about a 75% cut of all the top players. Sweden is around 20, and then the last 5%. These numbers are very much at the top of my head. I should add. I haven't done exact math on the percentages, but yeah, these are the big two facing off here.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this matchup so intriguing is those top players in Europe facing off against one another. And speaking of top players, let's take a look at our starting lineups for both of these two sides. Starting out with Sweden, it'll be the same six that has carried them to success throughout this tournament so far. Anton Kurhead down the middle at center with Anton Lund at the left wing and Kian Johansson on his right wing. While back on the fence, Oliver Pampmel and Anton Svensson, the captain of this Swedish team. I know both Furyan and Lehmannens very, very familiar with over the years. Well, in between the pipes, Andreas Brink. And, I'll start out with you, Lehmannens. What is it about this lineup that stands out to you? What has made them so strong throughout this 4 games from what you've seen?
First off, I think their skill is really showing. Like they're playing very relaxed and letting their skill come through. And above that, I must say that Sven Sander has managed to get the group together. They're playing as a unit. Everyone gets their space, but I mean, it's from a leadership perspective that everyone takes their space as well. So their skill is really coming through.
Yeah, Furyan, how about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I've seen just in terms of like general gameplay and also, I mean, if you're looking at the stats, that's also been quite obvious so far. Is that for Sweden, it's been a lot offensively has been about the wingers, Anton Lund and Dippen. They've carried the production a lot, whereas Kurhead has taken up a lot of defensive responsibility, a lot of like making those two. Giving those two the opportunity to kind of shine offensively, so that's been noticeable, and yeah, and also the two defensemen are very skilled with the puck, and that helps the general team play game of Sweden.
For sure. And in a few minutes, we'll talk with one of those two defensemen and Anton Svensson. But first, before we get to that, let's take a look at the Finnish starting lineup. And Lehmannens, Furyan, obviously, this has been one of maybe the bigger hot button topics throughout the community over the last 5 or 6 days was this Finland lineup. Obviously, the really, really rough performance against Canada that caused a lot of uproar. The bounce back against the United States got one win, wasn't necessarily impressive, and then was a blowout loss in the other. A bit of a lineup change for the Finnish side. Still Benito, Perttu Kemppainen, the captain of this team, in between those forwards at center, but 2 new wingers on his left and right side. It'll be Valtteri Virtanen on the left side, better known as Vatu, and his longtime running mate over on the right side, Arttu Laitinen, who we will be talking to in a few minutes as well. While back on the fence, it'll once again be Ate Kuningas, Akunku, on the left side, while Teemu Potila is once again there to his right. And in between the pipes, once again, Sebastian Remes. I'll start out with you, Furyan. I know both you and Lehmannens, you've been captains before, maybe not even just on the international stage, but on the club stage as well. Sometimes you make those changes and you're trying to see what's going to happen. What do you think of this Finland lineup and just kind of the makeup compared to what we've seen from them in those first 4 games with 2 completely new wingers on both the left and right?
Well, obviously the Finnish dominance in ECL Elite gives you the opportunity to select essentially an all-star team regardless of which players you select. So that there's no doubt in my mind or anyone's mind really that these are incredibly skilled players that are at the top of the leaderboards for points and goals and assists, everything for in the ECL Elite division. But like you said, as a captain, you got to try and find that balance between not resting on your laurels or sitting idly and not making changes when you feel that something needs to be done. Sometimes you gotta sit still on the boat and just wait things out and relax and see if things get better. And sometimes it's better to press the panic button and kind of just scramble all the lines and see if you can find a spark. I've definitely been a part of both mindsets, but historically, what has worked better for me in terms of leadership and captaincy has definitely been to try and get some consistency in terms of setting a lineup.
Yeah, I mean for sure. That has always been my philosophy as a captain as well, trying to build that stability. And as you say, I mean, there's always a chance to find that spark instead by making some changes. But the problem is you can only play that card a few times. You can't do it forever, and that is at the cost of stability. So it will show if that's the right player or not, because it's a risky one at least.
Absolutely. So, going to be interesting to see how things take shape. One kind of newer lineup that we haven't seen, and a lineup where we will see all the same six. And speaking of that same six, we're going to talk to one of those guys, the captain of Team Sweden, Anton Svensson. Anton, first and foremost, man, thank you again for taking the time to join us once again. I got to ask you, man, because it's the first time I've gotten to talk to you since Sunday. A statement of performance against Canada, stealing 4 out of 6 points against them. How do you feel like the momentum playing so well against the way against Canada that you did? How do you feel like that momentum can carry over now into the day against a Finland team that I know you guys have been really waiting to go up against?
Yeah, obviously, the Canada games were great games from us. I think we carried on the momentum we kept from the USA games because I actually thought we played two good games there, and we could have, I think, the 5-1 scoreline to USA on their server flattered them, to be honest. So we carried that momentum going into Canada, and we got a point on the away server, which was huge. And then on the home server, it was a decent game. I wouldn't say it was a great one. It was a decent game. I expect us to win by more on our server, but it's good. We picked up the points, and now it's Finland who, even though they have struggled in this tournament, are always a threat. They have amazing players, so you need to be careful. We just need to keep playing and be confident. We are still the biggest underdogs in this group, to be fair. So yeah.
Eller
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, you're saying you're the underdogs, right? Is that still the case, really?
Well, you are the underdogs until the dog can bite. And if people think the dog can bite, then you're not the underdogs anymore. I don't know if people see us as that anymore. To be fair, like how disrespectful we was before the tourney, I expect us to be underdogs until we do something in this tourney by winning it or going to the finals.
Yeah, you talk a lot about what other people think. What do you think? Are
I
you
think
still
we
the
can win the.
underdogs?
Nah, for me, I think we have always been one of the favorites. So, but you have to keep that mentality that you have nothing to lose. To be fair, then it becomes easier to play better normally.
Yeah, and I mean, against the Finns, it's always a special matchup playing against the Finns. A lot of history there. Have you prepared any differently from the other matchups?
We played some games on the NA server before the Canada USA games to prepare for the ping and how we were gonna approach the games. Before the Finland games, now we have just been playing normal games on our server, trying to keep our momentum going, keeping the mood up in the team and so on. So it has been like more standard preparation than we have had against USA and Canada.
Mm. And last off, no question, but I'm happy to see how much you've grown the last few years. Fun to see.
Fucking love you, man.
Still with the backwards baseball cap. Love to see it. How would you describe your? No, this is a short tournament. You don't really have a lot of time to kind of set the expectations with the players in your group. How would you say what's been your philosophy in terms of leadership in game? Are you the guy that's encouraging everyone with the carrot, or are you cracking that whip to tell everyone what they need to be doing?
To be, like what I've learned last couple years is somehow I'm experienced now. and I have a lot of years under my belt in this scene and so on. I'm not the most skilled guy anymore and so on, but yeah, like you learn in which ways you need to learn how you need to treat people, and sometimes you need to pull out the whip when it's looking very bad. Sometimes you just need to encourage. It depends on the situation, really. This tournament there has been no whip, to be fair, because we have been playing great. So just encouraging the guys, keep telling them to do what they do. They are so skilled, so they just need to keep playing their hockey and not think about any of the consequences, what happens if they lose the puck and so on. So that's has been my philosophy for this tournament.
Sounds good. Sounds like a strong leader. I'm sure you had good role models.
Yeah, I had.
That's it for me.
Anton, one more question for you before we let you go. I mean, again, obviously, we've talked about just the history between Finland and Sweden. You being familiar with these guys and with this matchup, what do you feel like is going to be the key for you guys to have success in the series?
Yeah, we have played these guys so much. They have played us guys so much. I, we just need to go out and play our game. I think we are at a level now where we have a Sweden team that actually can challenge Finland in playing our way instead of adapting to them. So we just need to play our way, and we can win in our way instead of adapting to them like it has been the past couple years.
And that sounds awful familiar to what you said to me on Sunday, and it worked out pretty well against you guys against Canada. Anton, best of luck. Hopefully, you can keep the whip in reserves for at least one more day. We appreciate you taking the time, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good stream.
Absolutely, man. Best of luck to you guys. A big thank you to Anton. One of probably the more entertaining interviews I think we've had in a while. Lehmannens and I-Furyan, before we get to Lehtinen, I'll just kind of ask, what were some of the things you guys took away there from that interview, whip talk aside?
That was my main takeaway. No, but I mean, we played with and followed Antas. He was a lot younger, and I feel like you can tell the difference in his general demeanor. He's feels like he's pretty calm and confident, and yeah, and he has every reason to be with how the Swedish team has been playing. So yeah, oozing confidence.
Yeah, for sure, and it's a great place to be for the Swedish guys with the general opinion that they're the underdogs, but the internal opinion that they're not. It's quite a great area to be in as a team. You can really get off that energy.
Absolutely is. Now we will talk to the other side. We got Lehtinen joining us now on the Finnish side. Lehtinen, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Your first games here in this tournament, I know you've kind of seen probably some of the talk surrounding Finland and some of the struggles that you guys have had. What do you feel like you and Vatu can kind of bring and infuse in this lineup with some of the changes that you guys have made here for the Sweden series?
Well, I don't know. I've always liked to play with Vatu, and I think we are kind of similar to Jere and Rönni, but I think we have some difference in our gameplay, and I think it's a good thing for our team to have some like refreshing gameplay on the ice, because the results haven't been there yet. But I know that we're gonna switch around them today.
Yeah, and Ante mentioned that the general like view is that you guys, like the Swedish guys, are the underdogs. Do you agree?
That Swedish guys are the underdogs.
Yes.
Well, I don't really think about that at all. I'm just going to enjoy the gameplay. These are my first one in the international jersey, so I'm not thinking about that at all.
Right. And how's the general feeling in the team for these games? I mean, you have been doing some switches in the lineup. How's the general feeling in the team?
Yeah, it's been good. I've always been the guy who is trying to get the atmosphere up, and I've been playing now couple nights with the guys, and at least I've been having a good time. So I think the results earlier what have been is not affecting today's game.
What's your general mindset going into this game against a Swedish team? You've faced a lot of Swedish players in your ECL elite career, and mainly or generally beat them in playoff type style games. What's been your experience kind of playing against Swedish players in particular, and is there anything that to you stands out with them compared to playing against a Finnish team or Finnish players?
Well, I don't know. Like Ante said, they're usually the team who is trying to just like hang around how like the best Finnish teams plays. But I think like in this NHL, they've been changing that they are playing their own game. I think their winger duo is really good. They are like really good playing the meta in this game. So I don't know. They've been like surprisingly good. Like I didn't play the NHL before that, where they weren't like that good. But it's surprising me like how good they are doing now, and they are like really skillful team.
So would you say, lastly for me, would you say that this is, do you guys consider this a kind of opportunity to reestablish dominance? Is that something you've talked about going into this?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think like this is the day where we're like trying to turn around our like atmosphere and everything. We know how good we are if we play our own game, and I think we're gonna make a statement today.
Final question on my end as well here, Lehtinen. You've talked about kind of, reestablishing dominance and how the Sweden team is a bit better than the ones that you remember even. I guess, what do you feel like is going to be the key to success, in how important do these two games feel for you guys? Even though it's not a playoff game, how much importance and how much weight do you feel like these two games are going to carry for Team Finland?
Well, of course it's important because we have made some roster moves today, and I think the like biggest thing what we have to focus on today is keeping the counter attacks in control, because we know how skillful the winger duo are and how good they are in scoring on those situations. So I think just like playing our own game, keeping the game slow is good for us. And of course, if we can win today, it's good for the rest of the tournament. So we are gonna get some confidence.
That's Arttu Lehtinen, the right winger for Finland. Lehtinen, thank you again so much for taking the time. Best of luck to you guys here in these two games.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. A big thank you to both Arttu and Anton for, taking a few minutes as they get things set up here for these next two games. And a little new addition to the broadcast this time around are players to watch. And starting out with Team Sweden, the centerman, Anton Kurhead. I mean, maybe not somebody that will stand out to you in terms of the points, but you look at just the overall game and the impact that he has had. You feel like he might be one of the most efficient players in this tournament, and maybe one of the underrated ones. Lehmannens, I'll start with you. I know you're familiar with Kurhead. What are some of the things that have stood out to you about his game?
Just that he has it all. I mean, he's playing center nowadays. When back in the days, he was a winger, scoring a lot of goals, making a lot of points. Now he's filling this role instead. I mean, he has two great wingers with him that scores a lot of goals. He takes great responsibility all over the ice. He's a huge factor in this team's success so far.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in general to observe the way Sweden has deployed their forward roster. You've seen Kurid, who was a forward, I think at least last season. He switched to center going into this season, and then you have on the right wing you have Dippen, who this season in the ECL has been playing center. So it's kind of like I guess so far a genius roster move in putting these players in the right positions for them to have success. So yeah, fair play so far.
Yeah, a quick stat for Kurhead that I think that just kind of shows how good that he has been. He only has 17 giveaways so far in the 4 games he has played. That's second least of any forwards with at least 4 games played or more in this tournament. Transitioning over to Team Finland and the player to watch over on that side. I mean, Valtteri Virtanen Vaatu, somebody that we all know has been a very dynamic forward, but his first games in this tournament, Furian, I'll start out with you. What are some of the things with Vaatu that kind of stand out to you about his game, and what do you feel like he can bring to this Finland team with his first action here in this World Cup?
Well, he can bring pretty much anything and everything. I know that I hate playing against him as a defender.
What makes us
I
do?
yeah, I know that he's a player that you can't really like pin him down on okay, he's a shooter, he's a passer. He can really do it all, and his one-on-one play is just yeah. In my opinion, top five in the ECL Elite. So if you see him coming down against you on the wing, fortunately he's usually not on my wing. So I've been spared a bit, but yeah, obviously a huge addition for Finland, and I don't know, maybe a player that should have been there from the start, and maybe he'll show us that tonight.
Yeah, one could argue for sure. And I mean, my experience playing as a right defender has been tough. It has been tough. I mean, you can't give him an inch, but if you go on too hard, he'll smoke you. He can score, he can pass, he can do it all. So he's really painful to play against. So a great addition to the team.
Yeah, and I mean, you see the stat right there, 52 points in his World Cup career. How about this? That leads Finland's team, everyone else on this team in their World Cup career combined 16 points. So bMaJuH is the most experienced player in this lineup, and he's also been the most accomplished. As you can see, 23 goals, 29 assists, and 52 points in 12 games. That's a 4.3 point per game average. So I'm right with you guys. I've never played against them. I don't think I'd want to if I were a defender on the other side.
Oh, but that also speaks to the kind of tournament this team had last year compared to this one. Like how many points he has scored compared to the team this year. So quite interesting stat.
Absolutely. And I know that's been a big talking point throughout this really tournament for Finland's been the lack of goal scoring. We'll see if him and Arttu can kind of find their way to give them a little bit more of that scoring punch. The teams are searching. They're getting things set up. We are just about 2 or 3 minutes away from getting game number 1 underway. Once again, we will have 2 games on this broadcast here today. And then later on tonight, or for our friends on the European side, I guess tomorrow morning, we will have Canada facing off against the United States with our broadcast starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our friends on the North American side. You guys might have to translate what the time would be there in terms of the Swedish time and the Finnish time. I'm not good at math. That was never my strong suit. So, I mean, I want to say I'd be right, what, 5 in the morning for you guys, give or take?
4. It would be 4. 4 in the morning.
So close. So close.
I unfortunately will not be there.
What about you, Johan? You staying up late tonight?
Yeah, that's late. I prefer early. So maybe I'll take a few hours and then go up. That's a great matchup as well. Yeah.
Absolutely is. Again, huge implications in that matchup for Team Sweden as Finland as well, as Sweden could potentially have first place or could go down as low as 4 depending on how things go. But nevertheless, they're going to hope to take care of business against Finland. As you see, these 2 teams are lined up and ready to go. You see the builds, and the first thing that stands out to me, a lot of the typical builds that you would see, power forwards and defensive defensemen across the board.
Yeah, I mean, the meta is what it is. You see a Kunku, the lone standout playing the puck moving defenseman. In my opinion, a Kunku is probably the best defenseman at handling a one-on-one situation. His stick lifts are legendary in the community. It's like an Kunku stick lift is is a classic. So obviously he sees something special in the puck moving defenseman.
We'll see if a Kunku stick lift can make some magic happen here for Team Finland as we get game number 1 set and underway. We will be watching from the perspective of Sweden. They're wearing their road yellow jerseys, while for Finland, they're at home wearing their dark blues. The first of 2 derbies that we will be covering here today, and big implications in Group A to top it off. Sweden versus Finland, and we're underway for game number 1 as the Finns will start out with possession, with Kuningas bringing it up to Pottila. Got it, and the puck trickles in. That took little to no time. It's bMaJuH who will get credited for the goal. I mean, if you blinked, you would have missed it. 1-0 lead for Finland.
We were talking about how long it would take for him to make an impact. But to be fair, that's an own goal and just a weird bounce. But yeah, it didn't take long at all.
39 seconds to be exact. As Valtteri Virtanen will get the credit again for what was an own goal, as you mentioned, for Team Sweden. So Finland, with the exact start that they could have dreamed up, a 1-0 lead, and they're back in the offensive zone here once again. As they had to kind of reset there as Lehtinen brings it forward and has it over along the boards to Poltila. The Kuninga shot on, went wide just a little bit as now Team Sweden trying to kind of recollect themselves there. 3 quick shots in 3 minutes of time for the Finns to start out this game.
Yeah. Lehmann, what do you like?
The blue line.
I was wondering, like, what do you tell a team at this point just to settle down? Because the Swedes seem a bit jumpy at this point.
Yeah, I mean that's the captain's job. So let's see what Sven Sander does here.
You guys mentioned it earlier, just this growth in leadership as that rip from Poltila from the point may have hit off of the end of the glove of Brink. As you mentioned, Sweden kind of just trying to get their bearings straight here, still not able to break into the offensive zone, looking for their first shot. As Finland had it in the offensive zone, but turned over immediately as Johansson has it in the neutral zone and gives it back to Sven Sander. Past the blue line, poked off his stick by Furtinen, and now it'll be dumped out for an icing. And maybe this is the chance that the Swedes needed to get in the offensive zone and get something going offensively.
I think you could tell Antonio Mannen there making an attempt to kind of grab a hold of this game and kind of lead by example, to grab the puck and take it in himself. That's obviously something a defender has to do from time to time, but in that particular moment, it felt like it was something he wanted to do.
Face off to the left side of Remes, one in the offensive end by Sweden. Hoffmill moving it forward, tried to put that through the middle to the centerman in Kurhead, but could not find him cleanly. Lehtinen in the offensive zone for Finland. Gives over to Virtanen as that backhand shot hits off of Brink. Finland still on the attack, full pressure. Poltila with it on the pass from Kuningas. Looking back to Kuningas at the point. Time and space of the essence right now for Finland, and they're using it to its advantage. It's a shot from Lehtinen, stopped by Brink once again on that one-timer, and he'll hold on for the stoppage. That is shot number 6 so far for the Finns in this first period.
Yeah, Broken Rice has had to be quite sharp so far, and you see Sweden already reaching for their timeout, so they're definitely not the start they wanted to this game so far.
No, for sure. And I must say, I like the timeout at this stage. Gather around, get a little chance to talk with each other, and see how they can get into this game. Because so far it hasn't been looking great for them.
Yeah, you saw the time on attack, just 16 seconds in the offensive zone for Sweden, and all of that was on that offensive zone faceoff after the icing. As they do win the own zone draw, and they're going to immediately go down the other end. This is Kurhead with it, pass in the middle to Lund, had it poked off his stick, puck scrum forward, and Lund gets it back. Gives it over to Sven Sander, now to Johansson. Back to Sven Sander, over to Poffmail, but could not connect with him on the pass. Kurhead was able to pick it up, but it eventually finds its way to Johansson. Down to Lund. Looking, Sweden trying to find their first shot of the game. Thought they had it there, but it was blocked in front by a teammate. And now down the other way. Poltila with it on the pass from Lehtinen. Has space at the high slot, gives it up over to Kemppainen. Back to Kuningas. Skates along the blue line, gives it to Poltila now. Patient play right now for the Finns offensively, as a nice poke check from Lund forces them out of the offensive zone. And now Finland going to have to earn their way back in. Back in the offensive zone, Kemppainen could not find much.
Really important stick check there.
In the offensive zone, and again, kind of turned away. They do get it back with Lund as Johansson tried to get a shot on puck loose there. Could not get a shot off that time as Finland takes over possession. And what do you feel like Sweden needs to do to get their offensive rhythm going? No shots so far. We're approaching the 4-minute mark to go here in the first period.
Well, let's see what happens here.
As a quick pass for a shot, they score! It's Johansson who puts it in off the deflection, and Sweden's first shot came 16 minutes into the game, and it finds the back of the net to tie things up.
Well, apparently you have the power. You can decide what they need.
I was gonna say, yeah, it seems like another one of those players where really well done by Sweden there to break the play up at the blue line. I know that's something they've been focused on doing, trying to break the attack at their own blue line, kind of staying passive until the opportune moment comes to make a hit, to grab the possession and then quickly counterattack. And here it worked out beautifully.
Sometimes it just takes one, right? Sweden got that one, and they put it in the back of the net. We are knotted up at 1 apiece. As a battle for the puck in the neutral zone, Sweden does end up finding it. This is Anton Lund with it. He is stopped, but gives it over to Johansson right on time. Johansson skating power shot in front there off the toe of Rames. Thought he had a second one there. Virtanen over to Lehtinen now. Finland on the counterattack, looking to punch back. Kuningas at the point, giving it over to Kemppainen, looking for space. Nice defense there by Svensson, who is now stopped on the boards, and Finland gets the puck back. Kuningas with it, holding over to Pottila. Pottila skating with it at the high point. 10 seconds to go. Kemppainen back to Pottila now at the boards. Waiting, shot on, blocked in front, picked up by Pafmail, and he'll just dump this one out, and that will do it for the end of the first period. An interesting one nevertheless. Finland started out with the early goal, an own goal. Sweden didn't have much of any response, but they got one shot the whole period, and it was the one that tied the game up. You're tied at 1 through 20 minutes of play.
You could tell that Finland were determined to do exactly what Lightning said that they were going to try to do, and kind of just reestablish dominance, because those first 10 minutes was, I don't want to say brutal for Sweden, but they were they seemed out of sorts, and they had to rely on Broken Rise to make a couple of solid saves just to keep them in the game. And then, once they got the tying goal, I would say that there's nothing more sweet than getting a goal when you definitely didn't deserve it, because then you feel like, okay, we're back. The hockey gods are with us.
Yeah, for sure. And the commentator as well.
Let's see what happens here.
Yeah. No, but on that page as well, I mean, from Sweden, I mean, yeah, Finland were pretty dominant, but Sweden stayed calm as well. They waited for their opportunity and took inch by inch back throughout the period. Finland came out swinging from the start, and still there's 1-1 after this period. So really impressive.
We'll see how both teams respond in period number 2. Again, the 2 goals, both from wingers. The first one being from Valtteri Virtanen, and then the second one being from Kian Johansson, both on that right side of the ice. As Finland trying to break into the offensive zone quickly to get another quick goal, but nice defense by Sweden as they'll slow things down and set up their break-in. Pafmail finds Johansson for a minute, but could not hold onto that puck. As Finland breaks it past the blue line and immediately turns it back over. You see Sweden kind of taking their time here. You see them kind of adjusting, and that's something that we're going to be interested to see throughout the series. Adjustments throughout these games. You see them kind of changing their strategy on the breakout. Kind of interested to see what you guys think of that.
Yeah, I think that was something they talked about after that first 10-minute stretch. 2-1 here.
As Finland with a chance as the backhand shot was poke check from behind. A great defensive play from the Swedes there to stop that play before it could go, and they might be on the counterattack. As a shot on there from Johansson was stopped by Rames. He's still on the attack as Pafmail has it at the point. Holding it, waiting and trying to find space for a pass, and gives it over to Svensson. Down over to Kerhead. Back to Svensson. Circling around the high right point and back over to Pafmail. Pafmail pass in front, could not get the shot off. Good Kerhead. Thought he may have had a look, but now Finland's moving down the other way and quickly. Virtanen with it, poked off his stick. A nice defensive play, but gets it back. Pottila with it now. Defended by Lund. Backs off now, and Pottila skates, gives it over to Lehtinen. Lehtinen over to Kuningas, a shot on. Patted away there by Brink. And now the Swedes take over possession and move it down quickly as it's poked off their stick, and they will once again slow things down. Back and forth possession for 2 teams. You feel like the game, guys, starting to pick up here in terms of the pace.
Yeah, for sure. It's been back and forth here. But yeah, something Sweden definitely seemed to have talked about is slowing the gameplay down and establishing more of a puck possession game, so they don't end up doing what in the situation that they were in the first 10 minutes.
The Anton Lund was controlling it. He finds Johansson now up to Svensson, who gives it back to him. Svensson with it now at the point. Shot was blocked in front by Kemppainen. Crouched down to get all of that one. Virtanen with it, poked off his stick, but maintains it. Kemppainen over to Virtanen, back to Kemppainen, a quick shot was stopped by Brink. That was a sneaky little backhand. Now the Swedes have numbers, a 3-on-2, but turned over as he tried to pass it back over in the direction of Kurhead. Poltola past the blue line now for Finland. Holding, waiting, looking, a lot of traffic in front, just trying to find a lane. There's that shot in front. Puck may have been loose for a second, but Svensson was able to pick it up. Over halfway through this game, still tied at 1 apiece. 8 shots for Finland, 3 shots for Sweden. Only 1 apiece so far for each team in this period. So defense has been the name of the game here in the second frame. There's a chance there for the Finns as that pass was too strong. And Sweden will pick this up and try to counter down the other ends. You see a light forecheck here from the Finns. So both teams starting to adjust. And I know both of you guys know adjustment's a big part of a game like this, especially with these two teams being so familiar with one another.
It's good. It sometimes turns into kind of like a chess game back and forth. You adjust, the opponent adjusts, and it happens like within a matter of in-game minutes, which is seconds in real life. So you have to be on your toes in terms of adapting.
Finland in the offensive zone now, looking to attack. Poltola with it, the high right face-off circle. Virtanen controls it. Back up to Kudingas. Circling around. Holding, waiting, up to Poltola. Poltola, nice defense here from Sweden, not giving any lanes. The pass in front, a shot, and they score! It's bMaJuH once again. Valtteri Virtanen, his second goal of the game, and Finland's patience pays off. They take the lead back by 1.
Such a beautiful play, perfectly timed, going into the net, perfect pass going around the goalie. Seen that too many times as a defender. That's tough to defend against when that timing is so perfect.
A 2-1 advantage now for Finland, and they score it with just around a minute to go in the second period. They're back in the offensive zone and looking for more. Poltola holding it at the high point, waiting and giving it back to Laitinen. Finds Kemppainen, but could not hold on to possession as now the Swedes with 1 more opportunity. 3 seconds to go. Lund pass in front there as Rames was out of his net, but the Swedish team could not get a shot off. That will do it for period number 2. A 2-1 advantage, and it's the man on your screen, Valtteri Virtanen. 2 goals for the Finns, and those 2 goals are what have made the difference to give them this 1-goal lead.
I gotta give a little shout out to, well, not a little shout out, but the play from the Finnish defenders before that goal. The way they handled the puck, the way that the patience they displayed before making that final pass is, it's not easy to do, and especially at this level, you have to be supremely confident with the puck and just supremely confident in general that that what you're doing is helping the team. Just hanging on to the puck, waiting, looking for the right opportunity, and he definitely found it here. Temo, I think he was made the pass.
Yeah, Lemon, it's kind of over to you. I mean, what are some of your thoughts? As you get a look at the stats, Finland 9 shots compared to 3 for Sweden. Time on attack pretty imbalanced as well. What are some of the things that you're seeing really on both sides that have given Finland this 1-goal lead heading into period 3?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Finland has had the edge like all game long, and getting this goal is so important because when you have the pressure and not getting the goals, it could be really frustrating, and when it switches, it could be rough. So really important that he got that second goal for the game for them.
Third period action underway. You're watching the eHockey World Cup 2026 final day of Group A action. Game number 1 between Sweden and Finland. This tournament being powered by SportsGamer GG and LeagueGaming.com. As you see Sweden on the attack, unable to get a real shot off as Remes finds that puck and holds on for the stoppage. In a rare offensive zone faceoff, feels like we haven't had many of those really for either side so far in this game. A lot of back and forth and not a lot of stoppages.
You're seeing Sweden seemingly have become a lot more determined to take the puck towards the net here and kind of use the mechanics of this game, which is that essentially every pass could bounce off a skate or end up on the stick of the player you were looking for, even in a pile of players. So it'll be interesting to see if that pays off as they continue to push towards the net here.
Sweden does have the puck right now in the neutral zone. Johansson controlling it now and giving it back to Svensson. Back to Johansson. Johansson the Pothmail. Over to Lund. trying to get towards the middle of the ice, as you mentioned there, Furyan, but just not able to find the space for a clean shot. As Finland now in the offensive zone themselves and looking to double their lead as a backhand attempt from Virtanen. Did not have the space as Brink finds it and will freeze it. An offensive zone draw now coming up for the Finns, and the next goal feels oh so important. Finland trying to go up by 2, Sweden trying to tie things up yet again. Sven Sander at the right boards, giving it back to Kerhead at the point. Filling that spot as Sven Sander takes it back and gives it over to Johansson. At the right corner, back to Sven Sander, over to Pofmill, over to Lund, as a quick shot blockered away by Remes. Sweden with that quick shot, but not able to get another opportunity as Finland takes possession over. Finland has possession once again here in the neutral zone. Johansson getting aggressive with a couple of big hits there, but Finland able to break through anyways. Lehtinen with it, cutting there, trying to get towards the middle of the ice. And I mean, you mentioned it, Fury, and both of these teams seem like they're trying to get towards the middle of the ice. And here's a chance for Finland. Kemppainen, nice backhand shot, stopped and saved, puck loose in front, battled for and found by Brink. He'll hold on for the stoppage. A near dangerous chance for the Finns to go up by 2.
Huge save in that moment. You're so thankful as a defender if you missed your coverage, or if you were on the wrong side of someone getting around you in an important time like this. You're always shouting that kind of thank you. And my teammate there in the ECL gameplay, Brinken, really came up huge for Sweden here.
And something to look out for there, by the way. That was Valtteri Virtanen, who was injured as player, that is. So he's over on that right side of the ice. Something to look out for is he'll be hampered by that in terms of the speed of this player. Sweden now in the offensive zone as a quick shot in front from Johansson was denied by Remes. Sweden still with possession, however. Pofmill, big hit there by Lehtinen, but Kerhead able to clean up the trash for him. Lund over to Kerhead now. Tied up at the boards and kicked away and over to Kemppainen. Seen a lot of those tie-ups on the boards for Finland defensively, and they have worked well so far. Sweden gets possession back and moves it up to Johansson. Now to Lund, with speed up the right side, cutting towards the middle. Backhand shot denied by Remes, and he will hold on for the stoppage. And guys, it feels like Sweden's starting to slowly but surely find their offensive identity here in this game.
Yeah, they're being way more decisive and playing their defense way more aggressive. So right now they're finding a lot of pucks and can counterattack, but we will see how much space the Finnish players will get when they miss the aggressive plays.
Off of the face-off one by Sweden led to a one-timer that was stopped by Remes. Full pressure now for the Swedes. Sven Sander to Pofmill. Pofmill skating forward, has plenty of space, but is looking for an option to pass or shoot. Gets it back from Lund. Moving around that left board, back to Sven Sander. Lots of space at the point for the Swedes to operate, but nothing doing in terms of an opportunity. It's a one-timer from Johansson, and they score! Call it Dippin's office, because he scored there all series long. He finds another, and Sweden ties things up at 2.
And again, you see the goal being created by the defensemen who are skilled with the puck, and who have patience with the puck, and who are confident and know what they want to do. That is, if you have that in your team, it's invaluable.
And goosebumps as an old defender.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know both of you guys can appreciate it. One-timer as the cross-trace scores! It's Kerhead! Just seconds after Sweden ties it, they go on top, 3-2 over Finland. 2 goals in about 30 seconds for the Swedes.
And you can imagine that party is loud right now. That party is loud. They are shouting. They are, high-fiving each other virtually. And we were talking about Kerhead before the game, too, that, he's been doing a lot of good things, but not getting on the score sheet. This was a big time for him to get on that score sheet.
How about this? Our 2 players to watch a combined 3 of the 5 goals in this game between Virtanen and Kerhead, as Sweden, their first lead of the game, but Finland looking to take it back as they work it in the offensive zone. Kuningas at the point, over to Pottila. Pottila holding and waiting here at the high circle. Taking his time. Pass shot in front there, and it trickles its way in! Kemppainen will get credited for the goal, and a fortuitous bounce for Finland ties it up once again, this time at 3.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate break for the Swedish team and a fortunate one for the Finnish team. But you can see he's actually poke checking that puck in, so it was an intentional play. So I mean, fair play to Benito there, making the right play at the right time.
Yeah, and Kemppainen, one of the smarter players you'll find in the community. He showed it right there as we're going back and forth, punch for punch. What else would you expect from Sweden versus Finland? 3 minutes to go, and we're tied at 3. Finland in the offensive zone and looking to find their lead back once again, but not able to hold on as Sweden takes over possession. 2.5 to go now. And remember, Finland needs 4 points to keep themselves out of 4th place, but at least have a chance at it, depending on the results of USA-Canada matchup later on tonight. Sweden turns it over in the offensive zone, and here come the Finns down the other end. As a penalty going to be called on Sweden, Pothmail going to the box for tripping, and a power play coming up for Finland. Now here's a stat, guys. No one in Group A has scored a power play goal so far. Can Finland change that here and find the winner?
Truly unfortunate there for Sweden, and what an opportunity for Finland at this point in the game to just lock it down.
Face off to the left side of Brink, and it's won by Sweden, but they can't clear it. Poltila gets it over to Kemppainen, over to Virtanen, back to Kemppainen at the high slot. Skates away for Virtanen, one-time shot. Puck goes in front, and they score! It'll be credited to Virtanen. It trickled its way in through the 5-hole. A hat trick for him, and with less than a minute to go, Finland is back up once again.
I mean, what is this game? Can it get any more entertaining than this? Sweden, Finland, throwing punch after punch. Damn, this is impressive.
Back and forth we go. The Sweden have at least one more answer. What do you think they need to make happen, guys? I'll ask you.
Just at this point, it's just, get people in front, get people towards the net, be patient with the puck, and wait for your opportunity.
It's a near chance for Finland, but it was turned aside. 37 seconds to go. Sweden in the offensive zone looking for one goal to take this into overtime, but Finland has possession with 30 seconds now. As a chance here, Virtanen passing, front shot on was stopped as Brink had a piece of it with his glove. Lehtinen behind the net, giving it up to the high point to Kuningas. Finland just trying to kill time, but they turn it over. And here comes Sweden down the other end. Could this be their final chance? Johansson turned over. Poltila gets it, but it's turned over by Finland. And the pass across, he couldn't get the shot off. It was intended for Johansson. 5 seconds to go. Finland's going to kick it out, and the Finns are going to escape with the victory. A 3-2 win. Sweden with a chance right at the end, but Johansson could not get all of his stick on that puck. And a critical victory for Finland in regulation over their rival.
And what a momentum boost this can be for Finland. Incredible to just watch. Yes, they had a couple of bounces with them. There's no denying that. They were, I think, 3 out of the 4 goals took a turn or bounced off a Swedish player. But to be able to come up with that goal and just in the situation that they're in, and with the time remaining and everything, like Lehtinen was saying, that could be huge for the rest of their tournament. Just that one goal, this one win.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at Vatu as well. Like, the guy is at the right spot at the right time. Somehow, some way, he managed to get that puck over the line every single time. It isn't always pretty, but he's there.
As you get a look at some of the goals, and I mean, again, 3 of the 4 goals for Finland trickled in through the 5-hole of Andreas Brink. And I mean, if you're him, you can't help but to feel like, what do I got to do to catch a break? I got a piece of it. I was in the right position, and he just kind of found their way in. But I mean, I'll ask you guys, because you've experienced so many of these games, it's just one of those things where you kind of have to toss it out and bounce back from it, because if you are him, what else are you really supposed to do in that situation?
Yeah, I think if you're the losing team in a situation like this, in this case, Sweden, it's very easy to kind of get bogged down mentally and have those thoughts of, why does this keep happening to us? How did this happen? Why can't we get the bounces? But as soon as you kind of I don't know, relinquish that responsibility to the game and just like, oh, it's just a game. It bounced off that's when you start focusing on the wrong things, and that's when you notice essentially everything that goes wrong, and you kind of forget to notice that yeah, they had a couple of bounces go their way as well. So just control what you can control and just flush this game and reset. So the Swedes were the better team for the better part of the third period when it mattered. So if there's anything they're going to take away from it, in my opinion, it should be that third.
And that's a significant game for the standings, and we'll take a look at that after we get the replay of each of our goals here. I saw some Canadian players saying, hey, we'll take it because Sweden, they were right with us in that running for the #1 spot. Finland steals all 3 points and also keeps them alive for not having to finish #4 in the group. As you got to look at a couple of the goals there for Sweden. They were up 2-1 at one point, but Finland wasted no time getting themselves back in the position as you get another look there at the goal that tied things up for the Swedish side. But then Finland finding their way forward after back-to-back goals in a 30-second span. Bottila, who, by the way, 4 assists for Teemu Bottila, had his part in all of the goals for the Finns, including this game winner right here. As you see the cycle around, and you mentioned them, you don't like playing against Valtteri Virtanen. Maybe some of it's because of the bounces, but hey, you put 3 goals in the back of the net, you're obviously doing something right.
Yes, you are. And this is a time where leadership becomes really important. This is a time where the leaders of Team Sweden, I think Sven Sander in particular, needs to crack the whip. I don't think so, because Sweden played kind of well after that first 10-minute stretch, but you have to really know how to generate momentum here in your team, kind of generate energy. And having played with Lehmann, this is where he would, start yelling just strange things and just go crazy to get everyone to think about something else. It's you need to find what motivates your team here.
Yeah, that's usually my way. I will scream some things I cannot say on this broadcast. Try to get everyone hyped up and go about it that way. I played on teams where the captain has chose another route, use the whip or whatever. You need to change something. But at the same time, I mean, the Swedish team played amazingly for the better part of the third period. Like when they play aggressively, put pressure, they play great. Felt like they just let loose during that period of time, and that really gave results. And as soon as they took the lead, you could see some changes in the aggressiveness and letting Finland take over the game once again.
You get a look at the Group A standings with that result. As we mentioned, I think the biggest winners potentially out of that result is Canada, because Sweden were right behind them on their heels, just 1 point behind. Now they don't get a point out of that game. They stay at 7, and Canada still has 2 games coming up later on tonight against the United States. While for Finland, they get those 6 points. Still, again, need to get at least 4 points to secure their place outside of #4. So their job, not even close to finish by any means, but a pretty big step in the right direction for them. And now all of a sudden, this group gets very, very interesting now between the top 4. A lot of things can shift as we get game #2 set underway. Fury and Lehmannens, question for you guys, really on both sides. What do you feel like are some adjustments that are going to have to be made, starting out with the Swedish side? Because, as you mentioned, great third period. The rest, a little bit timid from the looks of it.
Yeah, they need to.
You go.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go. Yeah, you said it. They need to find that rhythm that they were in, like the aggressiveness, and just going about it that way. They got into the rhythm when they played a more aggressive defense. I feel like they got into the rhythm they should be playing at all of the time. So that's the takeaway from me.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of things. We talk a lot about tactically versus mentally. sure, there are adjustments that you can make tactically. For example, being more aggressive, being more decisive. Exactly the points that Lehmann listed here. But in order to do those things, and this is something we usually come back to, is more of a mindset shift where you're just like you're not afraid of missing your hit. If you play afraid of missing your hit, if you kind of sink back, like we saw Sweden do kind of towards the end there, you get punished immediately at this level. So you gotta puff up your chest and just play without fear, I guess I would say. And in a time like this, with the goals that were scored and the goals that were allowed for Team Sweden, you need to pick up your goaltender as well, because there's nothing he could have done for a lot of those goals. So you kind of need to just give him that confidence to get back out and maybe pitch a shutout next game.
Kind of looking over on the opposite side now with Finland, you get the win, obviously some bounces to kind of help you along the way, but they don't ask how, they ask how many. So Lehmannens, I'll start with you, then we'll go over to Furyan. If you are Team Finland, what are you looking to change, and are you even really looking to change anything because you did get the win?
No, as Hampus said, like the mental game is so important. So on their end, just keep on going with the momentum. Get a good feeling that they won last game and get into the next one with a little momentum. I mean, these players are spectacular in every way, shape and form. So with a good mindset, with some momentum, they can do anything. Like some tactical changes, I don't think will help so much, but just the momentum. Ride on the momentum.
Yeah, for sure. Just tell your team, like, see, this is what we were capable all along. This is what we should have been. This is the team that we were supposed to be, and what everyone perceived us to be going into this tournament. So it's going to it's kind of a cliche, but it's going to be interesting to see what how both teams carry this momentum, what it does to them. Is it as predicted? Kind of the Finns used this to just rattle off another 6-0 win or whatever, or can Sweden just recover from this, rise up and challenge the Finns once more?
As we are getting game 2 set underway, we had a bit of an issue getting them connected. That's why you saw the kind of Swedish crowd stuck in the frozen state. We had to back out of it. So the guys are getting things set up and connected. So we should be ready to go in just a matter of a few minutes. I mean, I think really the biggest takeaway for me, and I'd love to kind of get you guys' thoughts on this as well, is that you felt like, for the most part, Finland kind of had control of the game, and then Sweden found their game a little bit. And then Fury, I know you kind of mentioned that it felt like once Sweden went up, it kind of went back to how it was in the first period, to where they lost a little bit of that aggression. Fury, starting with you, I'd kind of like to get your thoughts. Do you feel like it was a lack of aggression that they kind of had, and then when they got the lead, they backed off of it? Is that something that they might need to kind of look towards adjusting for game 2?
This is something that occurs a lot when we play this game at this level. Well, not this level, but at the top European level, is that you always tell your team, and everyone in the group agrees that, okay, let's not change the way we play just because we're up. Let's not become more passive. Let's keep that aggression. Let's keep playing the way that made us successful so far. It's one thing to say that and have everyone agree, but then the difficult thing is to go out there and actually do it, to kind of put your money where your mouth is, and just keep playing that aggressive style, even though you know that any mistake can kind of end up in your own net, or in this case, it turned into a costly penalty. But I mean, that's what you're gonna keep telling everyone, to just stick with what made us successful, and don't worry about whether we're up or not.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. That's usually the case. Everyone just keep on going, keep that aggression up. But it is difficult. I mean, especially when you go from like hunting, you need a goal, you have the momentum going, you just need to put one in the net, and then suddenly you're up 1 goal. You have something to defend, and like the mind plays tricks on you. You get passive. So at that point, it's just super important for captain to lead by example as well. That player needs to keep playing aggressively, needs to show the other guys by example, keep on going. Easier said than done for that guy as well, but that's usually. I was a captain for many years. I saw that as like the mission of a captain, to show the other guys, to put your money where your mouth is, like Hampus said, all the time. Lead by example, and if you say something, exaggerate it next play.
We'll see if they can do that, as we still are waiting for the teams to get things connected. But while we do have some time, we do want to remind you guys, we do have 2 more broadcasts coming up in the tournament. We are off tomorrow, but on May 23rd, Saturday, and Sunday, May 24th, we will have our playoff action, quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the highly anticipated gold and bronze matches on Sunday. You can catch all of the action right here at the World eHockey Association YouTube channel. I mean, this is going to be so much fun. Group stages have not disappointed. The promotion playoffs have been entertaining so far as well. I mean, Lehmannens, I know you played in that playoff environment a year ago for Team Sweden. Kind of give those watching that maybe aren't familiar what it is like to be playing in that stage with medals on the line for your home country.
Yeah, I mean, it's a special feeling. Like, all of us in this community have been longing for this sort of tournament for so long. I mean, it is different to wear your country's jersey, even if it's on the ice. And I mean, you know the stakes, and also through the playoffs, it's quite an interesting dynamic, since the quarterfinals will be against the lower seeded team, and then you're seeing that as like a meeting you should win, but that puts on some pressure, and then you have the games you've been longing for. So I mean, that dynamic as well, you know you can lose, but you see yourself in the semifinals or finals, put some extra pressure. So I mean, all of that experience was I'm truly grateful for playing this tournament last year, and I'm sure the players in this game feel the same way as well.
Yeah, you kind of get a look at what the current playoff bracket looks like. Again, 1 through 4 still to be decided based on what happens here in Group A. Again, if Sweden wins this game in regulation, Finland will be locked into that number 4 spot, playing against Norway. 1 through 3 will not be decided until later today based on what happens between Canada and the United States. I am curious, since we do have a little bit of time, we're kind of stalling around a little bit. I'm kind of curious, starting out with you, Furian, out of these 4 teams, I know a lot of the talk is around the big 4. Who's the team that you feel like could maybe make a statement and surprise some people? It doesn't have to mean that they go and pull off the upset and win the series, but in terms of just respect, out of these 4, who are you the most interested to see coming into this playoff matchup?
Well, I'd say the natural choice to go with here would be just in terms of who's surprised so far and who's maybe poised for an upset. We talked about them earlier. Is Norway? They won their group pretty decisively. They let's see. Yeah, there we have it. Yeah, 15 points in 6 games. I think they had maybe 1 or 2 losses. I can't remember exactly, but against teams like Germany and Switzerland, these were I've been in the scene for quite a few years now, and back in the day, as I like to say, these teams were kind of like the challenging for third in terms of the European powerhouses. It was usually Finland, Sweden, and Germany. So these aren't, they still have a lot of good players on these teams, like a lot of experienced players. So what Norway has been able to do so far has been really impressive, especially considering that they have their captain is just, I think, 18 years old and leading a team here that they just put together for 2 weeks here, and he's been able to kind of shape that group of players very efficiently so far. So yeah, I guess Norway is poised for an upset, but just in general, I think it's kind of interesting. The quarterfinals matchup is that, if I'm not mistaken, you have beyond Norway, the 6th, 7th, and 8th seed all play on the central server for their home games. And since we're doing 2 games in aggregate score here for the playoffs, it's kind of, as a European North server guy, it's a bit frightening to the prospect of playing one game where you're at the mercy of the away team server, because you never really know how those go. Like you can end up losing, say, 8-0, and then you're in a pretty bad spot when you go back to your own home server. So I'm not sure where I would want to finish here. Like if you're Sweden or Finland, like maybe you'd prefer to go against Norway just for the sake of playing 2 games on your own EU North server.
Yeah, Lemons, what about you? What are some of those out of those playoff teams? What are one of the teams that maybe kind of interest you? Do you think could maybe make a statement here as they get set to play one of those big 4 teams out of Group A?
Yeah, well, Norway, of course, has impressed me a lot, but also I like Czechia. Our old teammate Suvi is playing there, and he's that kind of player that could change a game, a series, just by himself. He has that spark, like we talked about with bMaJuH as well. He's just at the right place at the right time when he's on his game. I think especially on the wrong server for a North team, it could be rough. Especially like I have played plenty of playoff games when he has decided all by himself, scored a few goals, just done it all by himself. So against an opponent like that, where you have that spark, that star player, that is always like a concern going into a series. You don't really know what Zoe will step on the ice, and if he has today, it can be really rough.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It feels like that Czechia team, one of the teams that people have not really talked a whole lot about either. So, going to be a lot of fun to see maybe if they can make some noise. Again, for those that are maybe just now coming in wondering what's going on, the 2 teams having a bit of trouble getting into the dressing room, so trying to get some connection things figured out. Finland was able to take game number 1 by a 1-goal advantage. And for maybe those that came in a little bit late, missed some of the pregame, missed some of the interviews, don't worry, we've got your back. Let's kind of go through some of those things, take a look at our lineups and some of the players to watch. We'll start out with Team Sweden. As you know, I'll ask you guys, starting out with you, Johan, out of the 6 that you see, who do you feel like made the biggest impact or stood out the most to you in that game 1?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I feel like I always go back to the captain. I mean, he has such a big role, especially in this young team. Like he has such an important role, putting up the play. And I mean, the way they gathered in the 3rd period, coming back, I feel like he played a big role in that. Other than that, I mean, could have scored the important goal, the leading goal, played great the whole game. I mean, there were plenty of standout players in this game.
Yeah, same question over to you, Fury. Out of all these guys, who stood out to you in terms of impact for the Swedes in that game?
Well, I would say it was a case of different players at different times of the game. You saw early on when Sweden, couldn't get the puck. They didn't seem like they were ready for what Finland was bringing towards them. Then I would say that definitely the goaltender Andreas Brink was a standout early on. I think he had to make 6 or 7. That was not an intentional 6-7, by the way. 6 or 7 early saves before Sweden even had a shot on net. So early on, Brink had a huge game. Then Sven Sander had a couple of nice carries into the zone. You saw, I think Dippen had the 2 goals, right? So yeah, maybe I would have liked to seen a bit more from Anton Lund, which is maybe unfair to kind of put on him because he didn't play a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. But this is a player that did win the ECL Elite point scoring title during the regular season this year. And I'm not completely up to date on my facts here, but I think he might have been the first Swede to ever do that. So that's big. That's big for the Swedish community and in general. But you maybe would have liked to seen him, a player like that, get a goal or 2 in a game like this. But then again, like no one really played a bad game here. So yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of guys that will be interesting to kind of circle here going into this next game. Transitioning over to the Finland side now, I mean, I feel like I know what both of your answer is probably going to be, but I'm not going to spoil it. I mean, Furion, I'll start out with you. Who for Team Finland stood out for you in that game? I have a hunch on who you might say, but I'm going to be curious to see who it is before it's finalized.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were tough on Finland in general before the game. We maybe not criticized, but we definitely emphasized their tournament so far hasn't been up to snuff. They've made a lot of changes, but you know, Vatu Valtteri Virtanen goes out, gets a bit of a lucky break 30 seconds into the game. Like what a statement that is. And he kept that going. I think he ended up with a hat trick, if I'm not mistaken. But in general, he was just like a huge presence. And yeah, if you're Finland, I think at this point, this is your lineup. Like this is what you're going with now for the rest of the tournament. So fair play to them to be able to get back to where they themselves at least think they should be.
Yeah, Lehmannens, I'll kind of approach you with the same question. What do you feel like you saw out of this Finnish lineup? What were some of your impressions of them?
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard not to mention Vatu. I mean, he was at the right spot at the right time. He scored a few goals, but I was super impressed with Poltila Teemu, the way he handled the puck all game. Very impressive. I mean, he was behind all of the Finnish goals, and he's like he with the puck. It's super impressive to watch. I mean, I was a right D as well. And I mean, if I was a young player coming up, I would watch tape of this guy. Like the way he handles the puck is, it's almost like art. I mean, it's super impressive.
Always nice to see an artist at work, I must say, as we are still waiting to see if the teams can get connected here. You know, always kind of fun though, even though it's not ideal to, have to stall around and wait. Always kind of interesting to go back and review some of the storylines for each of these two sides. While we do have some time, again, we do what we can. We're glad to be here. We're glad to talk to you guys. But there are only so many things to talk about. We do kind of need a bit of a break. So while these two do get things set up, we're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We do plan on having game number 2 between Finland and Sweden in just as soon as we can get it. Once again, if you were not with us earlier, Finland was able to take game 1 in thrilling fashion, a power play goal in the latter stages of the game, less than a minute to go, to take game 1 4-3 in regulation. My name is Brandon Bigsby. Johan, Lehmann, and Hampus Duvefelt are with me. Do not go away. We'll be right back with game number 2 as soon as we can get it for you. Thank you all for tuning in. You are watching Group A action of the eHockey World Cup for 2026. Don't go away. We'll be right back. All right, we are back for the moment. Thank you all so much for sticking with us as we have all been kind of waiting and seeing. There's been some issues with the PSN servers and things of that nature. These teams, they've been trying time and time again to get synced up. So we're going to see if this time it works. Brandon Bigsby, alongside my partners, Johan, Lehmann, Hampus, Duvefelt, and essentially, we're hoping that this will be the magic charm, that 5th times is the charm, right, guys? I think it's been somewhere around 5 attempts now.
It's yeah, at least it feels like double that, but yeah, no, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. The usual signs of things not working are there. The loading screen is stuck. People are leaving the party, and yeah, it looks like we might have an
There we go.
anticlimactic end to this evening.
Yeah. All right. So we kind of had a feeling that might be what happened. So this is what we're going to do for those that have been tuned in and have been listening to us. Hampus, he has a job and a life. Johan has candy to eat and sell. It is approaching 11 o'clock, almost midnight where they are. So understandably so, this is well past the time they committed to, considering all of the server issues. So they are going to have to step out. Johan, Hampus, thank you guys again for, coming in the booth with me. Kind of an anticlimactic way to end what's been a really fun stream, but really, really have enjoyed getting to hang with you guys. And hopefully we do get to do this again here in the future.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's kind of want revenge on this evening. Like we were having we were going pretty well. Like the teams were putting on a show. Like we were having fun. Overall, a great evening. But the last 40, 50 minutes or whatever it has not been optimal. So yeah.
I mean, all you can say is, us as Swedes, this must be Finland's fault.
Yeah.
The rivalry
And on
always
that note,
exists, even when we're not actually playing games for almost an hour. Johan, Hampus, Lehmannens, Furion, thank you guys again so much. Candy Universe, thank you for your support in the background. Much love to you guys. And hopefully, either when you wake up in the morning, you'll see the result of this one, or we might have a game tomorrow. We're really not sure what's going to happen here. We're hoping that we will get action in tonight. So thank you guys again so much for joining me there for game 1. And hopefully in the morning, you'll be able to maybe see the result or catch the highlights of this one.
yeah. Best of luck to you all, as long as you keep trying.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. So while the two teams continue to try and we try to figure out what happens here with how we're going to go about things, we are going to go to another break. Again, if you weren't with us for game 1, Finland defeated Sweden 4-3 with a power play goal less than a minute to go in regulation. That feels like a lifetime ago. But hey, a big shout out to our teams, a big shout out to you guys and everyone that has stuck with us through this. We will give you guys information as soon as we have it. Once again, you are watching the eHockey World Cup for 2026 Group A play presented by SportsGamer GG and LeagueGaming.com. Do not go away. We'll be right back as soon as we got information or a game to share with you guys. All right, guys, welcome back. We do have some unfortunate news. It does not look like the two teams, they have actually been trying ever since myself, Furion, and Lehmannens all signed out last time. The two teams have actually been searching every single time since then, believe it or not. And that was about an hour and a half ago. Game one ended about 2.5, almost 3 hours ago. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen today. Both teams have decided that it's just not going to be able to work. The servers are just not cooperating. So, unfortunately, we will not be able to broadcast game two here of the series. Game two will be played tomorrow off stream from the looks of it. So, if you want to see what the result of that is and how all of the standings will be impacted, you can go to sportsgamer.gg or you can go to leaguegaming.com to see all of the results, all of the stats for how everything will end up shaking out. We will also have our full playoff bracket on those two websites as well. So for everything that happens with that game too, make sure to go to sportsgamer.gg and leaguegaming.com. However, we will have hockey played on this channel today, as again, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have our 2-game series between Canada and the United States, hopefully with less, antics from the unfortunate server issue that we've had on the PSN side. So make sure you are right back here, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know for our European friends, that's pretty early in the morning, but hey, nothing wrong with getting the jump start in your day with a good old derby action between two of the best teams in the world. So once again, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Drew Goldfarb and myself will be on the call right here on the World eHockey Association YouTube channel. A big thank you guys again for being so patient with us. We are so sorry that we could not get in both games today. Unfortunately, that's the way of technology. It giveth, it taketh away, and today it tooketh away. A big shout out to our amazing producer and the man behind the scenes running this tournament, Lauri Enström, everything he has done to make this thing happen. A big thank you once again to both Lehmannens and Furion for jumping on the broadcast with me earlier today. A shout out again to our amazing powering partners, SportsGamer and Leaguegaming. Thank you all for spending your Thursday night plus early Friday morning with us. We will see you guys later on tonight for Canada versus the United States. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will be right back here in just 3 or 4 hours.